We're back just because I can't hold off doing this. I'm gonna try to take this slow because there's a lot of new kinds of dip to review. I tried I opened a can of them spearmint pouches, man. God damn. Okay, pouches pouches are good for when you gotta be discreet, when you're like going into a store, when you're, like in a like when you can't have a big fucking wad in your fucking face, right? So they're good for that. But and they're good for economizing because out of a can of dip I get 8 pinches, sometimes less. If I'm being really Canadian about it, maybe 10 or 12. I'm digging little baby pinches. But can of can of pouches is all knocked off into 1 gram portion pouches. Now you can dip a couple of them at a time, but all you need really is one. Uh, so they're kind of cool that way. And but I don't know what they've done to the pouch material, but it's so soft and comfortable. Oh, it's fucking good. It's okay. Skoal spearmint pouches are the only pouch that I've tried that I would dip over the long cut version. Like I used to dip Skoal spearmint long cut all the time, and I like the pouches better, and that's saying a lot because yeah. But speaking of Skoal, okay. Now back when I was a wee kid, like 14, 13 years old, hanging out with my buddies. Uh, my friends Wayne and Gord, Wayne and Gord were kind of the three. There was some other fella too, I don't remember his name. We all kind of hung out and did dumb shit together. Drank homemade wine, fucking smoked a lot, whatever, wreck shit. But Gord's dad was really into snuff, both nasal and like this Skoal Copenhagen kind of thing, right? And so we used to just he always had tons of it, so we always used to just pinch it off him. Or Gord used to pinch it off him. And we'd just do it until we puked, right? Or, with the nasal snuff, we'd see who could do the biggest line. Or, like you don't do it like that. It's very wrong. But we were young, dumb, and punk rock. So, but anyhow, the only kinds of dip you could get back when I was a kid were Copenhagen snuff, which is fucking amazing. And Skoal, basically the Skoal version of that. Skoal, like it's like a Skoal snuff. It's like a fine cut, but it tastes of wintergreen, right? Now Skoal makes a long cut wintergreen, and on the wintergreen scale, like I actually kind of like it, mainly because I like the cut of Skoal tobacco a lot. A lot of people don't like Skoal wintergreen. And that being said, like I would choose Stoker's over it any day, or Copenhagen, or Hawken. Now I've tried Hawken, or Grizzly. I'd pick any of those over Skoal wintergreen. I don't hate it, but I like other wintergreens better. But Skoal fine cut original it's in its own class. It's, from what I remember, it doesn't taste like Skoal long cut. So we're gonna crack this open. Now I cannot tell you. I haven't seen a can of this. I haven't held a can of this in my hand since 1997, I believe. And boy, this can looks a whole lot better than it did when I was young. The can was still pretty cool when I was a kid. When I was not a kid, when I was in my 20s, and all the long cuts started coming out, they had like just a black plastic can like this, and a black plastic lid, and they didn't. All the new tins have metal lids. All the good quality dips have metal lids. So that's kind of classy, but back in the day, they didn't have. It was all plastic, right? And they were kind of flimsy and whatever. But the cool thing about Skoal original cans is they were green. Oh, they were all solid green, and that's fucking hella cool. They were my favorite can by far. Yeah, and in the States, from what I gather, up until recently, they came in a fiberboard can. I know they still make Copenhagen Snuff in a fiberboard can. I think they make Copenhagen Long Cut in a fiberboard can. But from what I hear, fiberboard makes all the difference in how it tastes. Like I'd love to try Copenhagen, American Copenhagen Snuff from the fiberboard can, because I love Copenhagen Snuff. Like if I was to buy dip here in Canada, that would be my go-to brand, probably Copenhagen Snuff or Copenhagen Long Cut, just because of what you can get here. But anyhow, I'm rambling a lot. Let's crack this little buddy open here. My little buddy. Oh man, I can't wait. You know, in dipping fine cut, it's so different than dipping long cut. You got it. There's a whole different way to do it. Okay, the best way to pack. You don't need to pack because of the full tin, but I'm going to show you. Best way to pack. I usually pack this way anyway these days. Is the side pack, where you just kind of hold it and you just tap it like that. Right? It doesn't have the cool popping sound, you know, like when you do it like that, and all the kids who are fucking good at it can just like wham, 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 you know, and it's a big fucking deal, but whatever, I'm a grown up. Let's see, pack it on the side. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Dipper moment. Oh my god. Okay, this smells just like I remember it. And now when you dip fine cut, okay, when you dip long cut, you just kind of grab a pinch of it and throw it in, right? A lot of the budget dips are kind of a more random cut, so you got to maybe go back for a little filler. But when you dip in fine cut, you're usually going to have to take 2 or 3 pinches just because of the way it is. And the best way to do is take your fingers. I've done a tutorial on this before. You take your fingers and you pinch it and you press it up against the side of the can, okay? Until it gets it right in there. And you get a little pinch about like that, right? And just keep going back. One more. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, immediately. Fine cut dip has I find it has a totally different taste than long cut. It's a much more finer cut. You know what I mean? So it's fucking duh. There's more. It's just like there's more surface area or whatever. It's just fine cut dip. I find tastes a lot saltier. With this, whereas Skoal long cut wintergreen, you kind of get a I've heard people compare it to like Pepto-Bismol kind of taste, you know, and I wouldn't disagree. It's like, you know, it's not the best wintergreen, but this is like, okay, this is old school. This is what the fucking old dudes fucking working in the garage, fucking oil dripping on their face all day. This is the kind of shit they did, right? And it's got a real robust tobacco taste. You know what I mean? And the wintergreen's there, but it's not a punch in your face wintergreen. You know, I mean, like, well, well, it's not. Excuse me, I had a little floater stuck in my throat there. That's the thing about fine cut dip too, is when you're talking, you got a lip full of it. It floats around a lot more. I'm pretty good at keeping it solid because I've been doing it for a long time, but it'll do that. It'll float around your mouth a bit. When, like when you pinch snuff as opposed to long cut, like when when I take a dip, I usually leave it in for about half an hour to an hour, maybe longer, depending on the situation. But with fine cut dip or snuff, you find you spit most of it out in about 20 minutes, half an hour. You know what I mean? So you don't lose it because you don't spit it out because it loses its taste or the nicotine or whatever. You spit it out because it just gets spit out, basically. No, fuck, man. This is like a total trip down memory lane. Like, you know how some things you do them and they, like when you listen to a record and you haven't heard it for 20 years and it just takes you right back to that moment. That's what this is like. I remember very distinctly the last dip I had of Skoal Wintergreen Fine Cut. I was living in Fleming Place, which is a little housing area downtown Peterborough, and living with my old girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend Kelly, and I had a studio, we had a whole house, and I had a little recording studio up in the attic, and that's where I'd sit and drink my gin and dip my snuff and all that bad stuff. And the very last pinch I had of Skoal Fine Cut, it was actually I was putting the dip on the shelf for a while. I was quitting it for a while because I had found a nasal snuff connection, and at the time I liked using McChrystal's nasal snuff better. And I found a place to buy it, so I started spending my money on that rather than Skoal. But I remember it. I was standing. It was a day not unlike today, like a summer day, and I was in my studio, and I had a big argument with Kelly about something stupid, as couples in their 20s do, and I went up to my studio and I had a big fat fucking hogger, a fucking Skoal Fine Cut, and it was my last pinch of the can, and it was the last can I was going to have for a while, and I remember it because of that. And and when I was done, I spit the tobacco into a fucking ginger ale can, and I don't know why, but that's what this does. It takes me right back to that moment, which was over 20. Yeah, it would have been 1997. So, thank you, Hilary, for sending me down memory lane, man. Holy fuck. It's amazing what tastes and smells and sounds can do when you look at the grand picture of your life. You know what I mean? It's amazing how things can... I've been listening to a lot of old tapes lately that I haven't listened to for 20, 30 years. Like that. But anyhow. That's my review of Skoal Original Fine Cut here, a Canadian perspective on YouTube. And this is so fucking good, man. 100, let's see what it says on the can. Hand selected, 100% American tobacco. Established 1934, pinch better. Made by the U.S. Smokeless Tobacco Company in Nashville, Tennessee. So yeah, right on. This is fucking awesome. Awesome. This is gold to me. I'm going to make this can last a long time. Anyhow, be well, stay free, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.